Hello, folks. Welcome to another session. In this session, we would be working with the Grafana alerting. We'll learn how to set up alerts, how alerts work, and how they can be processed with the help of Grafana. So this first tutorial is about setting up alerts. That should take us a couple of minutes. And once the alert is set, and there will be some real-time data, we'll see how alerts work with reference to that data and how the notifications come up. So there is certain series of steps that we'll be going through. Like first, we shall be creating a contact point. To that, we shall set up an alert rule. So this rule will come in action with some real-time data, and based on how it is functioning, there will be certain alert notifications. So final step, receiving alert notifications with the help of a public webhook. Later on, we'll go to some advanced scenarios also. But in the first scenario, let's see how to set up the Grafana alerting. So now we need to run a couple of files. So we are in killer Coda, and good thing, environments are preset. So one of the hard work which goes with not only hard work, but rather I will say quite intense scenario that happens with setting up of environments variables. So that is being taken care of at this stage. Now, first let's click on this. So this will set up the environment. Simple. It's a GitHub link that will set up the tutorial environment. After that, we shall change the directory where the repository is cloned. So I'm going to point towards the tutorial environment directory, which we have installed here. And then running the Grafana stack. So what will happen when we will run this Grafana stack? It will download all the necessary. There's a Docker here. So it will download all the necessary material and resources that we need for this particular tutorial. This can take a couple of minutes depending on your internet connection, and there might be a couple of errors also. Let's say if there is a Grafana or Prometheus or Loki already running on your system, so there you might see certain errors because the Docker shall be trying to use ports that your local installations are already using. So in that case, just stop it, run the command again, and then in that case, you shall not be facing the same problem. So that's how this works. Let's click on this. Let's run the Grafana stack. Sorry. So you can see it is pulling all the files, necessary folders, all the necessary sources that we need for this particular tutorial. So it's downloading, pulling necessary sources. Okay, so pulling is done. Done. So there are no errors here because I'm not running Prometheus or Loki or Grafana already in my local system. But that's it. Even if you face that kind of issue, it's always good. You stop and restart the process. So second step, we cloned the environment, we pointed towards the essential directory, and then running the Grafana stack. Go to next. Now, for running this, what we need is a contact point. The good thing with Grafana that is it has its own built-in alerting service. So it's not like it is using any third-party option or any third-party resource through its own setup. So it has its own built-in alerting. So you can receive notifications whenever there's an event of interest in your data. Let's say, obviously, you need to define those events. You need to define the events in which you are interested in with reference to your data. Now, those events could be anything. We shall be learning a couple later on. But the logic is very simple that you have some data. And if, let's say, some change happens in your data or there is some action that is happening with, or some event that is happening with respect to your data. So in that case, you would like to receive a notification. And on a larger side, you can even graph these notifications. That means these events that are occurring can be converted into visualizations as well. See, visualizations are always good. It's always believed that visualizations are, they give you a kind of outlook. They give you a kind of outlook which even, in numerical data cannot give. So whatever events you're interested, you want to have notification, then can be converted into visualizations. So in this particular stuff, the first thing that we need is we need to set up a new contact point. Now this contact point needs a third-party scenario. So it needs a webhook integration. Let's click on this. So now we shall be configuring a webhook also. So without this, the contact point setup cannot happen. So there's a webhook integration that is required. And there needs an endpoint for our webhook integration to receive an alert. Now for this, we shall be using another website, a webhook site that will help us in configuring. So this is webhook.site. Okay, so it helps you, since we are into testing, so this site helps you in generating free and unique URLs or email addresses as well, with the help of which you can do your required assignment. So I'm going to use this for my purpose, like we're working with Grafana, so we would be needing some URLs to test our alert service. So this webhook site will help us in setting up a test endpoint. And this will help us in understanding that whatever alert we have set up is actually sending a notification. See, that's the objective of this entire process. So we want that there's an alert. That means there's some event that we are interested in with reference to our data. Now we want, as soon as that event occurs, there should be an alert being generated. A notification came out, and the event can also be graphed. So we're gonna first go to our local host, right? So we can sign in. We need to sign into our Grafana account. So we have signed into Grafana, right? So that's first step. Then webhook.site, that will help you in setting up the test point. And we shall be copying our unique URL. So we are already there on that site. So this is my unique URL that you can see here. So I'm gonna copy my unique URL, and you can see on the left it says waiting for the first request. Right? So obviously there is no request so far, so it doesn't show anything. So we have just copied our unique URL that has been generated. So now what is happening? My webhook endpoint is waiting for the first request. What you can see here, it says waiting for the first request. Okay, no problem. So now it's time to configure a contact point. So we need to configure a contact point in Grafana. Grafana gives you a lot of services. So we are specifically talking about the alerting interface, the Grafana's alerting UI. And this contact point will help us in sending notifications to our webhook endpoint. So for that, we need to log into Grafana, which we already did. And again, on the left-hand side, you will see this bell alerting, right? Last time in last tutorial, we came across dashboards. And in this, we shall be clicking on this alerting service. Now, if you see this menu option, it gives you a lot of menu options like alert rules, contact points, notification policies, silences, and so on. Right. So what we are interested in the contact point, alerting, and then contact point. So alerting, and then contact points. So this will help me in creating the contact point. And with the help of this contact point, I will be able to send notifications to my webhook endpoint, which is already waiting for my first request. So let's click on create endpoint. It will give you one name option, so you can write any name, or for the sample purposes, we are writing webhook. Integration, choose webhook. So let's do it side by side. Let's click on create contact point. So it gives you name. So let's simply call it as webhook. If you want your own customized name, or you want to name it something different, so just feel free to play around it. And integration, you can see it gives you a lot of options here. Like I want to integrate with webhook. Right, ask for URL. So URL, this endpoint URL, that's what we need. So let's paste your unique URL, which has been generated by the webhook site. Once this is done, click test. So now what we're going to do, so we are trying to set up the contact point, and whatever initial or whatever things are required as a notification. Sorry, for setting up the contact point, we have given all those things. It's time to test. And what we'll do, as soon as you click on test notification, it will send a test alert to my webhook endpoint, which is already waiting for my first request. So as soon as I will click on this test notification, test alert shall be sent to my webhook endpoint. And when I will go to my webhook, I will see that request has been sent. So let's click on test. It says you will send a test notification that uses a predefined alert. So let's see, send test notification. It gives you a message, test alert sent. Now what should happen? When I should navigate back to my webhook, I should see that should be a post entry. Now, what if you can see this? Right. There's a post here. So earlier it was waiting for my request. Now the request is sent. Okay. Now the request is sent. And I can see the details here. So finally, this is done. So we can click on save contact point. So the contact point I have saved. So what I have done is we have created dummy webhook endpoint and an alerting point. So there are two point setups that have happened. One is the dummy webhook endpoint. Second is the alerting contact point. So alerting contact point is set up in Grafana. And the webhook endpoint, we have taken help of the webhook.site. Now we can go and we can create an alert rule. ultimately the entire objective of this exercise to create an alert rule. Alert rule means a kind of event which, if that event happens with reference to my data, I'm going to get some notification. And probably I can visualize it as well. So first part was the setup part that we are done. The second part is now where we need to create an alert rule. It means kind of event on the basis of which I want the notifications to be created. So that means as soon as the alert rule or whatever alert rule you have created is triggered, I want that I should be notified. So for that, we again go to alerts here and we go to alert rules. Right? So come to alert rules part. So now you want to create alerts. So it gives you option of creating a new alert rule. Right? So as usual, it gives you option to give have a name to your alert rule. So you can add a alert rule name. Again, alert rule name is your choice. I always suggest that alert name should be something that has context with your underlying objective. So that means if you read that name, you should come to know, okay, why I created this alert. So I don't prefer that you create names which later on you find it difficult to decode, okay, why the hell I created this. I don't. So we can keep it short if you want. We can have your name descriptive also, but whatever it is, it should be connected to your relevant objective. So once you name it, let's say sample name, we call it database metrics. So we need to define query and the alert condition. So there are a couple of default options for creating the alert rule conditions. So in these default options, you can define the query. Query means an expression that will help you in manipulating the data. So, and there's a condition that must be met for the alert to be triggered. So one is that we need a condition. So if that condition is breached, or if let's say that condition is satisfied, the alert shall be triggered. So this is something what we need. So one is query. Second is the condition that must be met for alert to be triggered. Now Grafana has lots of test sources. Sorry. So there are a lot of test sources within Grafana. Like in previous tutorial, we worked with Prometheus, and these data sources are already included in the demo environment also. This particular environment, and the data source that I want to use is a time series data. Time series data is data which is time dependent or happens with occurrence of time. It's sequential in nature, like day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, whatever it is. Now to add these test sources, again, we're gonna go back to Grafana, add all the test sources, and then go ahead with all the alerting and evaluation behaviors. So this entire setup would have been two parts. The first part, that what we talked about, was with the setup of Grafana. Second, where we are putting up the alert. So I will put up this alert thing further in the next separate video. Till that time, bye, and thank you for watching.